I am so glad that you show up for this first week of how to host a conference or event. So whether you are new in hosting a conference or you are experienced, I have 7 tips to work on your plan and to develop like a outline or a strategy for your event. Last week we talked about knowing, write down the vision and knowing if the idea came from the Lord and what was the Lord saying about that idea. You already have that vision, you have that idea, you have wrote it down, you have prayed about it, and you know what, you know why you are doing the event. Whether you are doing just a one-day event or a conference or a school, whatever it is that your mandate for that event, you already know because you already have prayed and you have an idea on what you are supposed to be doing. So the next thing that you know, it's why are you doing it? You need to know that the Lord have mandated and there's a why for your people, whether it's for your church, whether it's for your community, or whether it's for to build up the people that follow you in your ministry. So once you have those basic things, there are 7 things that I recommend you to build up that plan, and you can create like an outline, and as you walk in executing that plan, things will come up and you can add those to your plan. First of all, I had it as at point number 7, but I'm moving this as at point number 1. You have to establish a prayer strategy. From the very beginning, start with prayer. And especially if you are develop a plan, you need every time that you put something in your outline or in your paper to as a to-do or something that it will be part of your event, you have to write down a prayer strategy for that particular thing, or have the people that are in your team, that are your prayer warriors or is your prayer team, know about what you're doing so they can pray for these things. Okay, this is very important. Start with prayer, finish with prayer. You are going to finish strong. Okay. The next thing that you have to develop is you already have your idea. You know the mandate from the Lord. You need to have a team or a topic, something that it express the idea behind what the Lord has spoken. If it's a women's conference, there's a topic, a specific thing that the Lord is asking you to talk about. If it is something for men, is it something for the whole church? What is it and what are you going to call it? You also need to confirm what it's the time frame or the dates that you are going to use for that event. If it's in the summer, it will be in the spring, or it's in the winter. What are the dates? When you are setting up dates, it's very important that you give yourself enough time to coordinate everything. I recommend that at least 6 months. 3 is too short, but if you feel very strong that 3 months, within 3 months you have to have this event because it's mandated for the Lord, go for it. Just that you need to compress a lot of things, and a lot of things will need to happen really, really quickly. Okay, once you have those 2 things, you need to, if you haven't thought about it already, or the Lord haven't put anything yet in your spirit, you need to start seeking the Lord for guest speakers. It's normally people do this, events well by themselves, and a guest speaker, depending on how big is your event, like if it's one day or it's 2 days or is it at school, what type of event you are hosting or planning, you need to think how many guest speakers you will have and who are they. And you need to start as soon as you know about this. You need to reach out immediately to those people, so you can secure them for those dates. So you need to confirm that the people that you want to invite to your event are available to come on the dates that you are planning to have that event. Once you have done those things, you also need to, based on the dates, you need to determine, am I going to do this event at my home church, or I'm going to do this in a hotel? This is something that you need to ask yourself. Are you a ministry? Do I need to go? Do I have a home church that is big enough to host me? Or this is just like a church, and the church is doing this event, and we are gonna just have it in church because it's for our church, and we'll just invite the community to come in. You have to answer those questions, and you have to define specifically where your event will take place. If it takes place in your church, that is fantastic. If you're the pastor of the church, go for it. If you are not the pastor of the church and this is your home church and you are asking your church to host the event, just also think about the fact that when they say yes, and you need to be clear, and if they are saying yes, is there's gonna be a fee for it, or they're just giving you the facilities for you to use. And when you receive that gift, if they're giving you the facilities for free, just keep in mind that honor is a good thing to have. So just honor them back by doing something for them. If they don't want an offering, remember that they probably will spend extra money during those days to have the facilities heated up, warm up. They probably will have some volunteers available to help you with the facilities and everything and keep them clean. So if that is the case, just like ask them, would you need some supplies, toilet paper, or things for the kitchen, or something that you can bring for them to honor the fact that they're allowing you to use the facilities. And always from the platform during the event, remember to give credit to the fact that they are hosting you. Okay, this is very important. If you decide to go to a hotel, it's very important that you just confirm those dates, and you are sure that you build that cost into the budget, because as we all know, hotels are very expensive. And talking about hotels, the other thing that you need to think about is, are you hosting this conference so people can come and travel to your area? If that is the case, you need to also think about hotel accommodations for lodging. You also need to think about hotel accommodations for your guest speakers. So it's very important that you reach out to hotels in your area to secure deals for lodging. Some of these hotels will allow you to block certain rooms. When you are doing and blocking those rooms, just remember that when you do the agreement, you have to make sure that you are not liable for those cost of the rooms if they are not booked. So those are the things that you really need to pay attention to. Also, most of the hotels will give you a contract, especially if you are using the hotel as a venue. They'll give you a contract, and some of those negotiations you can negotiate to have rooms given to you free if you have X amounts of rooms book. So it's very important that you ask all of those questions and that you read everything before you sign the contract, pretty much. Okay? And we all know that, but I cannot stress the fact that you need to do that. And also remember, this is something very key, and we don't take advantage of this often. As a ministry, if you are tax exempt, just take your tax exemption with you at the time of negotiating the contract, because you will not receive a tax exemption for the rooms that the people are booking, but you can receive a tax exemption for your bill, and you don't need to pay taxes for the room or the cost of the conference that you as a host are paying to the hotel. Okay, but you need to have that tax exemption paper so you can save those taxes. I have done that before, and I'm telling you, when you save like $400 in taxes, it's like woohoo. So we really need to think about those things. Also, you need when you are working with your plan, you need to decide if your conference or your event will be free. People will enter for free, and you'll just receive offerings, or if you will receive if you have them have a door ticket, or there's gonna be like a price. In both cases, you need to think about then how are you gonna be taking the offering. Okay, there are some advantages or disadvantages on doing it, and the main reason that when you are doing this, you need to tell the people, and people need to understand that we don't get the offering to cover for the expenses of the event. The offering is an act that we have as of worship. So you invite the people of sowing a seed or to worship. Okay, and that's how you approach the offering in any case, whether your event is free or your event has a door price or a cost. You need to understand, and you need to approach the offering this way. Okay, it's very important, because this is always about the people. If you have faith and the Lord mandated your conference, the Lord will provide for everything that you need. Okay, and you have to have faith that the monies that you need will be there. Never ask for an offering, pressuring people to give an offering because you need to cover the expenses of the event. And remember, whenever you are doing an event, that's why we plan, because we have to take into consideration what's going to be the budget and what are going to be our costs, so we can plan ahead and decide how are we going to cover for the financial side of the conference. And of course, the offerings will probably most likely will go to cover that, but the offerings that are brought to the event are an act of worship, okay? And you always have to approach it like that, okay? So another thing, and I know that I'm taking long, but I promise there are 7 things. You need to decide also if you're hosting with partners or not. You reach out to and secure your partners if you decide that you're going to have partners. If you are not clear on that, just put it on the side, and as you keep sharing this information, people will come alongside you if they want to. When you're working with partners, you need to make sure and be very specific and have clear expectation on what the partnership will entail, because if you are not, you will have the risk, or you run the risk to have offenses, and we don't want that. So it's very important that you're very clear about that. If they're gonna help you with the facilities, or they're gonna help you with promotion, if they're just gonna help you releasing people to help you or to be volunteers in the event. And just have to remember, it's very important that you remember that you are the host, and ultimately you are financially responsible for the event. Unless 2 ministries come together and decide that you are partnering financially to release something for the region or for the community, then you are co-host, and then therefore both are financially liable for it, and then you have to speak about it and decide how are you going to handle these things, so you can be able to do it with grace, with understanding of each other, and there's no confusion that will bring offense throughout the process, okay? Next, you will have to have a team set up, and that you have to set up regular meetings to monitor your progress. I recommend that you set up a monthly meeting, and you can also, as weeks go by, you set up a weekly meeting, at least maybe a bi-weekly meeting a month prior to the event, and then you have to have a couple of meetings when the event is approaching. Very important, do not procrastinate. If you have nothing to discuss related to the event, have a prayer meeting. Meet with your team. There's always something that will come up. And if you start with prayer and you finish with prayer, everything will go well. Alright, I think that I overextended myself a little bit on this video, but I hope that you like it. There's many other things that we need to share, but we don't have more time. If you have comments, please comment below. Subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this content, and tell me, did I miss something about the plan? Would you like to hear something else? Maybe we can start a discussion and we can learn from each other. God bless you. See you next week.